Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny and I live in Central Illinois, and I'm a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. Welcome back to my knitting journal, and welcome to those who are new for the first time. Thank you so much for joining me. My purpose in my knitting journal is to inspire you, and so I hope that I do that along the way with some of my knits and some of my thoughts about knitting. So today is Monday, November 28th, and in Central Illinois it's cloudy and 48 degrees, so that's not all that bad. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I took a quick trip over to Iowa and spent the time with my son and my daughter-in-law and my grandkids over there and celebrated with their family Thanksgiving night. So that was a fun time, and I've come home and here we are. I wanted to get this podcast out relatively early in the week because I know that come the end of the week, when we start the 1st of December, there's going to be a lot of people out there vlogging for the Christmas time, and I so look forward to that as well. So I wanted to be sure to get out there and give you some thoughts about my knitting and some updates on my knitting as well between now and then. And if you have a favorite vlog at the holiday time you like to watch, would you comment below about that? A couple that I love are Chelsea Lux Yarns, Christina and Tad, that they do theirs, and then Sandy by the Lakeside. I always look forward to those two and others at night as kind of the end of the day type thing. And so I'm looking forward to that. Someday maybe I'll try that, but I just don't have that interesting of a life right now. Anyway, if you hear some noise in the background, it's because we had a water main major issue this morning out front, and they are digging up the lines on my side of the street. So, you know, that means there's no water, but I anticipated it when I saw the little bubbling this morning and filled my bathtub with some water. So we're covered and all is well here. So let's get started talking about some knitting. First up, I wanted to talk about the Burra Cowl KAL that will start on January 1st, 2023. How this happened was a double dog dare, I do believe, at the knitting meetup last summer with Noelle and Dawn, Knits and Pieces and Frivolous and Frugal podcast. And what came out of that, the double dog dare, was the Burra Cowl, which was color work. And so this is something that we here at PJ Knits are jumping on as well. This is a multi-podcast knit along. There are several that will be joining in on the knit along. And those are the 3-ply podcast, Frivolous and Frugal, Knits and Pieces, Dude Knits, Pandemic Knitter, Magpie's Cottage, and yours truly, PJ Knits. And so we would love to have you join us in this knit along. As I said, it starts January 1st, 2023. I know that the Frivolous and Frugal are going to make theirs go all year long. I am looking at ending mine at the end of July before we go to the mini meetup as a kind of finishing point. So that can be adjusted as we go. We'll just see how it goes along. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Burra Cowl, this is a cowl pattern designed by Marie Wallin, and originally was in her Shetland book, and I have had this for quite some time. There is the cover. And I know that if you purchase the book now from Marie's website, there is a download code where you can get a Ravelry code to print the patterns off there or save them. But here is the cowl that we're talking about. It is color work. Just to give you some background information from Marie on it, she says this great Fair Isle cowl is knitted in the round and is a perfect design to knit before starting the challenge of knitting your first Fair Isle garment. Named after the collective name for West and East Bura on the west coast of Shetland mainland, it was photographed on Unst at the at the rusting bothy and is worn with the unst cardigan. And another little bit side view here of the cowl. And I think I have one more picture. I guess that's it. So anyway, this Burra Cowl is what we will be doing for the knit along. And I'm super, super excited about that. Now, if you are interested in knitting along with us and you don't have the book or the pattern, you can buy the single pattern at Ravelry. But if you are interested in knitting along, I would like for you to comment below. And if you don't have the pattern already, comment below and put in the comment Burra Cowl. And I, before the next podcast, will choose 2 winners to receive the pattern free on Ravelry. So anyway, if you want to enter that and comment below about the Burra Cowl. What I like about this is, as Marie has said, this is a good first color work project for those of you and me as well who are not super, super proficient or would like to be better at doing color work. I think this is the perfect kind of project because you get used to it, develop your own technique as to whether you want to hold one in each hand or both of them in one or the other hands. Or as I do, when I'm doing Fair Isle or color work, I knit and then I drop and knit and then drop. So I may try and refine my technique as we go through. And certainly for me, it's going to, I always have a tension issue. And I think by the end of this cowl project, I certainly think and hope that I will have adjusted all of that and be more proficient at it. So one of my goals kind of for the new year is to be better with my techniques. And I think this is a perfect project to do that. And I would love to have that, a community of us all doing this together as well. So the yarns that I chose, I went to Schoolhouse Press and specifically chose the yarn and the colorways that Marie has used in her yarn. And the colorways, the yarn that she used is Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. This particular one uses 11 colors, so you need 2 skeins of 1, which is the background, and then all the other colorways. So I went to Schoolhouse Press, and I didn't want to have to try and decide what colors to put together. I just wanted to knit it just as Marie has done hers, and so I got my yarn last week from Schoolhouse Press. Now, I ordered these individually off the website. The costs for all of these were $112 with shipping when I got it with shipping, but I'm going to love those colors and working with those. So those are the colorways I'm using. You certainly can choose your own colorways, or if you have something in your stash and you want to use from your stash, that is good. One of the things that I did get from Schoolhouse Press a month or so ago is I ordered the actual color cards of the Jamiesons of Shetland colorways, so I could just, I anticipate a lot more color work in my future. So I ordered this from them. This again is the Jamiesons of Shetland, and this is the color card, and it is the yarn that is used in the actual cowl. One of the things that is out there, and it was this morning when I first looked, is you could check a pre-order from Around the Table Yarns. They are pre-ordering kits for a superwash yarn, which is not so muted as this, but I think there was like 4 different colorways you could choose from, and that cost was right around $60. I don't know if that includes shipping or not, but if you check that right away and you're inclined to go a little bit more cheaper yarn, or you want to do a superwash, you can check out Around the Table yarns. Also, if you want to convert and look at other colorways, Lost City Knits carries the Jamiesons and Smith. I didn't want to have to figure out what colorways I wanted to do. I do have an old card that was a Jamieson Smith from Schoolhouse Press years ago, and I know that Lost City Knits also has the Jamieson and Smith color cards, the updated ones, and she had those on the website last week, and I think I'm going to get one of those too, just because. This is 100% Shetland wool, so it is a woolly wool. Let me say that. It's not a soft and cuddly one. But I do know from experience down the road, after washing and wearing, it softens up a little bit. The nice thing about the Shetland wool, this is made in Shetland. Both, whichever way you decide to go on the two other brands, it will keep you warm. Let's put it that way. So let's just say that. So it is, there is a hashtag. It is hashtag Burra Cowl, B-U-R-R-A, Cowl, 2023 for Instagram. I have opened up a thread on Ravelry for that. The group is pjknits. I've opened up a thread for the Burra Cowl, so you can show us your colorways when you get them and if you're knitting along and deciding. So be sure and comment below. One or two people will receive the pattern via Ravelry. So that's all I have to say about the knit along. We will be talking about it more as the next month goes along. So anyway, okay, sweaters for today. Next time we're going to continue on with some throw and go sweaters, but today, because I really wanted to talk about the knit along, I just wanted to finish up for the very last time, hopefully talking to you about ground pepper. As you can tell, this is a favorite pattern of mine, and I've talked about it several times and wore several versions of it. This one I went with me to Iowa, and I threw it on for Thanksgiving, and it just was perfect for the day. My original one that I am wearing, this came from several years ago, was a kit from Leading Men Fiber Art. It is in their Callback base, and it is, we've talked about it, it was a gradient kit that was originally what the pattern was designed for. Whoops. This will give you a little bit better idea. This is Ground Pepper by Suvi Sumola. So you get an idea of what we're talking about on the original, on the gradient speckled. And so that is the pattern that I have used twice. Anyway, this was their Callback. This was called Sport Weight. When I look it up, it's called Sport Weight. This particular one is Dream in Color, Smooshy Cashmere. And this is a fingering weight. Now, interestingly enough, both of them are knitted entirely alike. This one I knit first many years ago and made the notes in my Ravelry page. So I am pennyj, not to be confused with the group pjknits. pennyj, and all of the notes for both of these sweaters are on my project page. But originally, this one and this one, both done out of the same needle sizes throughout. The only difference is they call this a sport, they call this a fingering weight. Now, this particular one, with the cashmere in here, is very soft. And so I think the reason I got away with everything the same as this one issues, and this one's a little bit more loosey-goosey as it would be, I think, is because of the cashmere in it and the softness of it. Well, this one is soft, and I love it equally as well as this one, but I think the little bit heavier weight of this made it so that I could use the same, really the same mods, the same needles. For both of these, I started out with the size 4 needle at the top for cast on, and generally, as I do, and I've talked about this before, I use the size 4 probably till I got about right here. I have a little bit much more narrow waist than I do hips, and so till about right under the bra, I stayed with a size 4, and then I went to a size 6, went to a size 6 needle all the way down to the rib, and when I got to the rib on this particular one, then I switched to a size 2 needle and did a knit one, purl one rib, okay? On my newest version of it, I also decreased at the hem, that last row right before the rib, I think about 15-20%, and went down to a size 2 needle on the rib on it. Back that up, I did a size 4, went to a size 4 on this rib at the ribbing. I did not go all the way down to a 2 on it, but I did do the decrease on the new one. And that's something that Susan and Sally Rainey from their Pickpocket sweater years ago taught me about going down, decreasing those stitches on a top-down type sweater. Normally on a bottom-up with EPS, we would add stitches going up. So that was something that I learned from that Pickpocket pattern, and we'll talk about that this winter as well. On the sleeves, I did the same thing on both of them as I've talked before. I picked up the stitches. I put the stitches on a size 6 needle, and I've said this before, you know, I have flabby arms, and so I need as much as I can underneath that. I always, almost always, after I pick up put the stitches on the needle, and the pattern will tell you how many to pick up extra underneath the arm. I always pick up extra because I don't want any holes underneath that, and I always, almost always, 99.9% need those extra stitches. So I put as many stitches underneath that arm, pick them up as much as possible, as many as I can get away with, because I know that I'm going to need them. Leaving it on a size 6, then I just, I knit all the way down to about the elbow. I have the notes in my journal as to what I should, at what point I should start the decreases after the elbow, because again, I have a large arm, but when we get to this point, then I have to really decrease to get down to a small wrist, which is about 6 inches. So it takes a little math, and I am constantly at this point in time, I have measured what my gauge is up here, and so I do some math as to calculate where I have to be at this point before the rib, how many stitches I have to take out to get what I want at the bottom. I also at this point switch back to a size 4 because I want smaller stitches here, and do the decreases. So based on row gauge, based on gauge of where I have to be here, I do the math and calculate how often that I have to decrease as I go down, 2 stitches per every so often, and I make notes of that on my thing. When I get down on this particular one, I do know for certain, and we talked about this last time, I did decrease because I was not, when I got to the length that I needed to be, I was not at the stitch count comfortable that I wanted on here. So I did do extra decreases around there, around the edge, before I popped it on and went on to knit one purl rib. So it takes a little bit of calculation. And on this sleeve rib, I did a size 2 needle. I could have got away with the size 4 and I talked about that last time. But basically, that's what I've done. I love both of these sweaters. They are really, for me, a throw on and go and a comfortable sweater, keeping me warm. And I think, up here, because I am narrow-shouldered up here, casting on with a smaller needle, even in this newer case on the newest one, I probably could have cast on with, say, a 2 or 3 up here as well. So, and then I followed the directions for the rib, and here we have it. So again, this is ground pepper, and I think probably last time not have to talk about, the last time that I'll talk about it for a while, at least on this podcast. So I wanted to share those with you as possibilities definitely for throw and go sweaters, and some nice easygoing knitting for you if that's what you want going forward into January. So okay, so let's talk about whips. I've got some in my bag there that I want to tell you about. I have not done a lot of progress on my cozy classic raglan by Jessie Mae Designs. I've been knitting on this at the shop when I go, but in a minute you'll see what other projects I've got kind of going. So this is again with a strand of Cumulus, which I'm loving and is so super, super soft, and a strand of finger weight yarn, which is Molly Girl collection. There you go. This one is going to be so, so super soft. And so this is my local yarn shop project because the yarn came from there. And next up, I have been putzing around for a while wanting to do the muscle burl hat. And so I cast on a muscle burl hat, and this one, an easy little hat just to play around with. There we go. This was a gift yarn, which is one of my goals each year is to knit on. I love getting yarns as gifts. And so this is one that I got last year from my friend Kathy. This is knitted with sock yarn, and the colorway is Watery Tart. And this from my local yarn shop, the Fiber Universe. So this is one that I'll take when I'm heading back to Iowa next Sunday to celebrate my granddaughter's birthday. So this is one I'll take in the car with me, easy to just knit for a while. It's in a bag from my friend Norma, who has passed away some time ago, but she would make me bags every year. So it's just a treasure to bring those out at Christmas time. This, I believe, is going to be for me. I'm playing around with the muscle burl. And one of my last whips that I am working on, everybody take a sip out of your cuppa. Caramel macchiato for me. This is half and half triangles wrap number 4. Now, just a alert here. Daughter-in-law Erin, if by chance you are watching this, please shut it off and walk away. I don't want you to see what's coming up next. I'll wait. Anyway, my daughter-in-law Erin asked for a shawl for Christmas. And this is my thought. If my family asks for something knitted, I'm going to do my best to make it happen. And we looked at several of the wraps she wanted for work. She wanted a wrap. I showed her I have an abundance of wraps that she could look at. And I don't think we ever came to a conclusion as to what she wanted. So I made an executive decision. I had been working on an Ace one that I thought would be good, but I didn't think it was soft enough. So I went to my stash, pulled out a couple of yarns, ordered some yarn from Webs, and as this progresses, I'll show it to you down the road in future episodes. But I made the decision for her that she would get a half and half triangles wrap. Now I am doing color blocking on this one, so this will be interesting. And the reason I'm doing this is I had about 210 yards of it's not alpaca with a twist, baby twist yarn. And I just loved, and she loved my alpaca, my navy and winter sky one. She loved that feel. And so I thought, this is what I am thinking she wants, because it's soft in the garter, and the Ace just wasn't making it in the stockinette with the yarns I had. So because I did not have enough of anything to do both triangles, I am doing color blocking. And so I have cast on her. So this is what's taking up most of my time. And it's really going to be neutral colors. The cream, that's all I had. And then we're onto a taupe, and there's a brown and a darker brown and maybe a gray, because she gave me a kind of a color picture. So this is my half and half number 4. And there's no I'll get this done in time for Christmas. And so I wanted to share that with you. And I put it, and I love putting Christmas projects in Christmas bags. This is one I got from Molly Klein Designs some years ago. You see the theme. I love putting my Christmas and my winter projects in my holiday bags, so that you readily know that that's what you were working on at that point in time. So those are some of my whips. Those are the 3 whips that I'm concentrating on. And believe it or not, I'm working solely on those 3. I can't believe that I'm semi monogamous. That's just not me either. But my goal is to get those going and finish up those before Christmas and before we start the knit along. So, Advents. Who out there got Advents in the mail? I got 2 Advents. And I thought I brought them in. So take a cuppa. I'll be right back. Hi, I did bring them. They're just underneath. Anyway, I got 2. I had ordered one from Chelsea Luxe, and then I also am part of a group that 2 people are in Indiana, and my friend Peggy and I here in Illinois. On that one, we each sent everybody else 6 minis along with a little gift for December 25th. And I'm looking forward to my little gifties because then I can put that underneath my tree. I'll have presents underneath my tree when I wake up on the 25th to open. So I am a part of the group Peggy, Suzanne, Rachel, and me, and those all came as well. I have to confess, with the ones that I sent them, I've already started putting into my blanket. So there will be 6 days that I probably will have to make up something from my stash, which is perfectly fine. And so what I did is I took all of my Advents and put them in a box and shut it. So I'm like really desperately wanting. And so I've got them all in here by the year and by the day, along with the little gifties that when I get my tree up, there you go. So I've got everybody in here. And I will Instagram post on them daily as I'm opening. Super excited about that. I know that the ones from the 4 group, I know that those are all going to go into my blanket. The ones with Chelsea Luxe, we got a download for a pattern, and I'll make that decision when I download the pattern as to what it wants to be, or if I just want to keep them and do something else with them. So I'm not sure where I'm going with my Chelsea Luxe one yet. That's to be decided, but I'm pretty certain that all the ones from my 4 group, my part of the 4 group, will go to my blanket. My intention is, again this year, to do a square a day in Advent with my blanket. I really liked that last year. It makes it so nice that when you get done, you've got 24, 25 extra squares. And one of the things that my plan is to make that for my bed. And so it needs to be a queen size or larger. So I'm looking forward to that, starting that later this week. If you remember last year, I did the Chelsea Luxe as well, and I put it with mohair. And I did this wrap that went on forever, but it is so scrumptious. I did it with a mohair. This is Helen Stewart pattern, Dust in the Wind. I'll link it below, but this was almost all of the minis. I didn't use quite all of them last year, and I still had leftovers. So, and on the sparkly base from Chelsea Luxe, and so here we have that. This, when cold weather comes, I will be wearing it wrapped up. So this is a totally, totally cool one. Anyway, that was last year's, along with one other that I didn't complete, but I'm going to get it back out and maybe complete it this year. So those are the Advents. I'd love to know down below again what kind of Advents you got this year, and what you're going to be doing with those, and put them in the, if you don't want to comment below, put them in the Ravelry thread about Advents as well, and let us know, show us your progress as we go for Advent. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have Advent calendars, right? So, or at least our house didn't. So I'm looking forward. This has been fun to be able to do that. So, okay, books and bags is the next segment. Just want to talk about books. As you all know, I am a knitting journal freak. Those are some of my unfinished projects that I would love to get done. And I've decided that I want to do a new journal every year. And so I ordered from Amazon, this company, same company, Otter Gummy, off of Amazon. And this is the color of my journal that I've got. So I've got my new journal for 2023. And I have Hohi's calendar holder, what do you call it? Her leather thing that I purchased probably over a year ago. And I purchased a 2023 Hobonichi as well. I like this for my purposes for keeping track of a lot of things. Date-wise, bills, and then monthly things. So it will go into here soon. And so I've got my my journals and my my calendar. And I do the Hobonichi Techno Cousin in the A5 size, and I've got it in my Hohi leather binder. And so those are my books that I've got. I'm really super excited to start a new year with both of those, to get some information in those. I'm looking forward to that. I'll start that in December. The next podcast, I'll talk about goals, about my knitting goals. I'll start again. I'll have a little episode about how I plan, what my goals are, give you a little look-see into the old journal, look-see into the new journal of how I set them up. We'll talk about that next time. And start talking about 2023 knitting goals. I don't know if we'll do sweaters next time, if there'll be a sweater part of the episode, throw on and go. We'll wait and see what comes about. And I'm kind of obsessed a little bit with hat knitting right now. Everybody's been talking about it in the last couple of days. And what I did is, there's probably a post on Instagram where I laid out bunches of finger weight yarns and some mohairs and some pom-poms that I had on a white table, and kind of matching things up and weighing yarns to see how much mohair I had that would go with whatever. And so I'm kind of excited about doing more hats for me and using some gift yarn as well. So next episode we'll also talk about and give some Advent updates. I'll give you a view of what I'm doing and how my blanket's proceeding and other things. So just a couple of things that I want to show you just because. I said I had a birthday earlier in the month, turned a major number. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. If you can get the insurance worked out, it's okay. But we're not going to talk about that. But I got some lovely knitting related gifts that I want to show you. And the first is in the way of a bag that my friend and sometime guest on the podcast made for me, Debbie. There's my yarn, and it's a little pouch. And on the inside, coffee cups. Isn't that super cool? And it's got all my stuff in it to put into my bag to taking to knitting. But I thought that was super cool. It's a larger version of a pouch that I have, and I just think this is so cool. Now, she does not sell these. These are gifts. So thank you, Debbie, for this. I am totally enjoying that part of my bags as well. So, not nifty. And then finally is a gift that I received from my friend Julie, which is a yarn wreath. And I bought one of these for our friend Brenda, and I'm like, I almost wanted to keep that one, and look what I got. So I have a little hook on it that I purchased off of Amazon, and I hang it on my light, my long light that I've got that you can pull out, and I hang it on there, and so it's really super fun just to sit there and look at it and enjoy my birthday present. So anyway, I just wanted to show those yarny gifts that I received for my birthday. And that's all the knitting, and that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for the kind comments that everybody has made. You know, it's a tough time, and I know, again, I say this, I know I'm not the only one, and I know that there's some of you out there we have conversed that have lost their better half, and how difficult it is. But you know what? We're going to choose joy. We're going to think of positive things going forward. You know, we're going to deal with things as they come, because, you know, we really don't have a choice. And this is one of the things that I'll just impart with you that my friend Becky gave me, and I can't get close enough, but she gave me a necklace, which I love. And the thing is, it's kind of indented on the back. And when in doubt, I just grab it and kind of rub that indentation, and it says, stronger than yesterday. Yeah, we are. We're stronger than yesterday. We'll make it through. So I hope that you are knitting something fun right now. I hope that you're not too stressed over your Christmas knitting. I'm not. And I hope that you have sunshine in your weather. Send some here, because I do like the sunshine, and it's better for podcasting too. So until next time, knit on with confidence and hope through all crisis. Thank you. Have a great couple of weeks. I'll catch you on the Pearl side. Bye now.